Hi, friends, and welcome. Happy Sunday to you. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Jessica. Lovely to have you ladies here today. How was your week? How is your internal weather today? I'd love for you to do a check in. Thank you so much for the hearts. I mean, it might sound silly, but it really does mean so very much to get those hearts. So thank you. Hi, Judy W. Great to see you as well. Welcome. Come on in. Grab a cup of tea or whatever is going to give you some comfort today. Oh, Jessica, how lovely. Started doing a lot more meditative art. Oh, I'd love to see what that is, Jessica. Michelle, it's been a total storm today inside my little head and body, but the storm is finally calming and I am grateful. Oh, Michelle, you're in the right place. I think a lot of us are going through this where, okay, it's stormy. Okay, now I've calmed, but oh, now here comes another storm. And Jessica is sending, I think those are hug emojis. I don't know. My eyes are not that great so that I can't really see. I'm hoping it's hugs. Yes. Jessica says yes. All right. So let's see if we can just calm our storms together right now. Just bring your hands to your hearts, if you will. I see in Michelle's profile picture, she's got her hands to her heart. So if you would join me with your hands on your heart, and if it's comfortable, close your eyes. And if your mind's a little bit busy, that's okay. Just let your eyes come to a soft gaze then. And rest your awareness on your heart space. And simply imagine that you could breathe in and out through your heart space. You could just breathe in, breathe out. Again, resting your awareness on your heart space. Imagining as if you could breathe in and out of your heart space. It helps to slow your heart rate. It helps to lower your blood pressure. And you don't have to do it with your hands on your heart. So here's a little preview of where we're headed during Thanksgiving dinner. You could always be doing the heart breathing without your hands on your heart. But for now, just keep them there because I find it very grounding. Spend just a few more moments here doing some heart breathing. And if your mind is extra busy today, you may want to add a little mantra to it. The one that's really been in my head this past week and a half has been, I breathe in light and love. I breathe out darkness and despair. And it could be whatever works for you, right? I'm just giving you options. Take a few more breaths on your own breath pattern, imagining that you could breathe in and breathe out of your heart. Knowing that there's all kinds of research behind this, well over 30 years worth of research from the Heart Math Institute of how this really does help to calm things down. And there are more electromagnetic currents in our heart than in our brain. So therefore our heart energy expands out 3 to 4 feet from our physical body. So as you are doing your heart breathing, whether it is at Thanksgiving dinner or on the bus on the way to or from work or in the grocery store, when we do heart breathing and we're giving ourselves that gift, we're also radiating that calm out to those in our vicinity. So fantastic. Jill, hi, from New Jersey. Okay. Yes, holiday family party coming up. Don't want to deal with them, just want to enjoy a party. Jill, you're in the right place. That is exactly where we're headed today. Fantastic. Oh, and Michelle, I love that. One of my favorite mantras ever is, I am love and I am light. having a human experience. Oh, yes, you could do that with your heart breathing too. Fantastic. We are in the right place and in the right mindset. We just want to enjoy a party. So, I want to start with a vocabulary lesson. Latibulate. Latibulate. Never heard of that before. Have you? It's a 17th century word that has gone out of vogue, but I have a feeling we might be bringing it back because latibulate means to hide in a corner or place of safety, to escape reality, or until conditions improve. Jill, you may want to just latibulate until everybody's left your party, right? I just wanted to try and put a little levity in this. I set this class up several weeks ago, and then, quite honestly, I was kind of biting my nails this week about do I do this class or not? Because things are a little charged, right? But I know that some of you, some of us, really, really need this. So I have, I have life experience to share with you. Plus, I do the research. I research all of this stuff. I don't just pull it out of the air. Jill, I take a table to myself at these events. I do avoid the people who annoy me the most. Ding, ding, ding. And as you are adding things in the chat, as we go through, if you have comments or questions about anything I'm sharing, if you have stuff to add to it, please chime in. I do not think that, oh, I know it all. I have a little finger on the pulse of what's going on and realize that we need to be talking about this, but it doesn't mean that I have all the answers. I have some of them and you have even more. So please, let's go ahead and share all of this. Oh, Sandy, your book launch is December 3rd. You're nervous about my presentation. Some of what we're going to share today is going to be perfect for you. Also, I've got all kinds, I have so much videos and stuff available. So please feel free to reach out to me during the week if you, for some reason, can't find some of the techniques I share so many each and every week here. So if we haven't met yet, let me introduce myself. I'm Stephanie Dalfonzo. I have been an integrative hypnotist and healer for 20 years. And I have been studying for over 25 years, researching and studying all things anxiety and sleep related because of my own issues. And I have compiled a lot of that research into my book. So some of that research is what I share with you in these classes. But then also, like for today, it was, oh, I was doing research this morning and ask and ye shall receive. Do you know who Liz Gilbert is? She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, decades ago. She is such an amazing woman. And she has this community called Letters from Love. And sure enough, I plug into her this morning, and the theme is You May Leave. We will be touching on that in just a little bit because you may leave. It is okay to leave. So, we're going to talk about setting the stage for self care, some practical strategies for those difficult conversations that may come up. I'm going to share some in the moment techniques for you, knowing when to step away and how to do it for your best interests. And then we'll close it up with another brief meditation. So, with that, let us set the stage. Jill, who said you were hosting the gathering, you'll be setting the table or tables. We are going to set our table now, set the table for our self-care. And so the reason that I scheduled this talk for today and not next week is Thanksgiving is a week and a half, almost 2 weeks away. And I want to give you the opportunity for a week and a half, close to 2 weeks, to be practicing this and getting it into your DNA, into your cells, so that when the big day comes, you're prepared. So it doesn't mean when I share these techniques, it's not like do it once and you're good, right? You need to practice them. Again, how many times do you hear me say you need to practice them over and over and over again? But that's how we go ahead and prepare ourselves. So, your morning gratitude, doing your high five in the mirror after you brush your teeth, meditating, moving your body. It is all the things that I share with you all the time. And then also, pre gathering, there's mental preparation too. And so, one of the things I really want you to think about doing, and I don't ever say, well, this is what you have to do, but this is a big one. And it is not just me saying this, it is Stanford University saying it, Dr. Joe Dispenza saying it. Oh, and Olympic athletes like Simone Biles and Michael Phelps, they won all those incredible gold medals in part because they do the mental dress rehearsal. All right, just give me a little heart or a yes in the comment section if you've ever found yourself doing the mental dress rehearsal of everything going the way you don't want it to. I'm raising both my hands. I'd raise my feet if I could, because I used to do that all the time. Yes, I'm seeing in the chat, I'm not alone, right? We do these mental dress rehearsals of, oh my gosh, it's going to go, blah, 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 blah. And then it's almost like a self fulfilling prophecy. But do you think that Simone Biles or Michael Phelps do that before their competitions? No, they always are going into their mental preparations. First of all, you notice they're only focusing on themselves. Michael Phelps is not focusing when he's doing this mental preparation. He's not focusing on, well, what's the person in the lane next to me going to be doing? Or Simone Biles, what's the person before me or after me going to be doing? No, 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 because all we can control is us, right? So we want to focus on ourselves and we want to see, feel, and imagine things going the way we want them to. Not that the other person is going to all of a sudden, you know, wake up, right? I don't know, it would be nice. But what we want to do, how we want to practice, is us being in our power. Because when we're in our power, that feels so much better, right? And then we're not going to get blindsided. We're not going to get knocked off balance. If we are prepared and if we are in our power, we can have a good day, but we have to prepare for it. So again, it's self-care each and every day. Any of the techniques I've already shared with you, and I would highly recommend that you start beginning today, beginning tonight actually. I want you to think about this mental dress rehearsal as the very best time for you to do this is either that little window right before you drift off to sleep, or the other end of it, that little window right when you're first waking up. When you're in that in between state, it's called the hypnagogic state. And it's a state identical to hypnosis. Right? You don't have to go to a hypnotist, right? You are your own hypnotist. So in that dreamy state, you can see, feel, and imagine being in your power, listening to their BS and imagining you have like a little bubble around you and it can just bounce off, bounce off, bounce off. And I know I can almost hear somebody saying, well, no, there's no way I can let that bounce off. I understand. So I'm offering different opportunities for you to play with what works best for you. And that bubble, literally, I've had clients over the years that have been like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing and so helpful. But again, it's not because I say, hey, imagine yourself with a beautiful bubble around you. And let's go ahead and do that for a moment. Just real quick, close your eyes. Imagine you have this beautiful bubble. Remember in The Wizard of Oz when Glinda the Good Witch came down in her pink shimmering bubble? Imagine that you have a shimmering bubble. And it doesn't have to be pink. Whatever color it is for you is perfect. But imagine that it's kind of shimmery. like the one for Glinda was. Right? Imagine this shimmery bubble around you, and I'm losing the word for it. It's permeable, I think is the right word, where you can let in what you want. You can let love in. But the rest of it bounces off, bounces off, bounces off. Imagine for just a moment, as you imagine being in this beautiful protective bubble, imagine that Uncle Joe, oh, here he goes. He starts at Thanksgiving dinner, and you just sit there and maybe do a breath or two, and you think, oh, what you hear instead of rah, rah, rah is imagine it simply bouncing off, bouncing off. It's something to play with this. Yes, I am laughing out loud at. Oh, I'm so sorry, but this is really funny, Michelle. One version of this I like to do comes from I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Oh, thank you for keeping things light, Michelle. I do appreciate it. And, maybe keep that just in the privacy of your own mind. Might not go over so well at the Thanksgiving table. So, okay, we've got the mental dress rehearsal. Another thing, and I've shared this before, it is so powerful, a power pose, right? So, you can do a power pose like this. And if you're not looking at the screen, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I have my hands on my hips and my shoulders up, back, and down. You can do it like that. You could be standing up doing this. You could stand up with your arms up in the air like a V, like Superman or Superwoman, whatever. You want to be in a big power pose. And you could do this, little stealth tip, you can do this at the Thanksgiving table too, where it's much more subtle. Right? So when you're practicing it, I want you to go big. Go big. Do a really big power pose. And I'll tell you why this works in just a moment. But do it with me now. So that's kind of all right. That's noticeable. Right? But what if you're sitting at the Thanksgiving table and, oh my gosh, will they just shut up? Will they just shut up? And all of a sudden, I want you to look at my shoulders for a moment. Ever so subtly, I'm going to lift my shoulders up, back, and down a little bit. And did you see, first of all, I really wanted you to focus on that. I'm going to do it again in case you missed it. Okay? I'm just relaxed here now. I'm not like hunched over or anything. I'm just relaxed, right? And then, put my shoulders ever so slightly up, back, and down. And do you see how that just opened up my collarbone? It opened up my heart space. Right? So why do we do this power pose aside from, it feels pretty good? Well, of course, I'm going to say, I got the research to back it up behind me. There is a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy on this. I think it's called the power pose. I forget what it's called. It's millions and millions of views on this. And so fascinating. They had people come in for this research study and they took samples of their saliva and they were testing for testosterone and cortisol. Testosterone, ladies, we have it too, just not as much as the guys do. So the testosterone is the leadership hormone and the cortisol is the stress hormone, right? So they come in, they test the saliva. They have the research participants stand in a power pose. Remember, it's either this big one or like this, right? Just 2 minutes. They test the saliva again. Amazing. The testosterone is very high and the cortisol, the stress, is very low. That's good, isn't it? The exact opposite happens when you're in a low power pose. And so that is when you're hunched over. Could be, how many times are we in our power poses all day now on our doggone devices, right? So 2 minutes of being in that low power pose, they test the saliva. Sure enough, cortisol, boop, way up high, and the testosterone is way down low. So again, I share this with you today. You don't do anything with it, and then you think about it on Thanksgiving Day in a week and a half, and oh, what was that? So I want you to practice it each and every day. It doesn't take very long, 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes to change the testosterone and cortisol in your body. It is so, so powerful. That's why it's called the power pose, right? So we've got the mental dress rehearsal, we have the power pose. Another thing to think about as we set the stage for our self care, I would highly recommend you stay away from drugs and alcohol the day of. All right. This is coming from somebody who that was my way of dealing with things for many years. And about 3 years ago, I don't remember the exact day, but it's almost like my third anniversary. I finally decided to love myself enough that I wasn't going to drink alcohol anymore. And so this is not me being a teetotaler saying, oh, don't drink alcohol, but alcohol and drugs and toxic environments are never a good situation. So think about that. Thank you, Jessica. Think about that. Again, I'm not saying don't, but think about, is that the best thing for you? Not for anybody else, but is that the best thing for you? The other thing, yeah, caffeine can feed anxiety too. You got that. Jill, I skipped the booze at the last family event, didn't regret it. Yep. Oh, Jill, she's in a sober month now. Fantastic. Yeah, Jessica's saying no to coffee with dessert because of the caffeine. I got it. So, one more thing for setting the stage, setting our table before we get there is create a support system. You know, I talk about having an accountability buddy almost every week. Get a support system in place. If it's not somebody who's going to be physically with you at the event, you want to make sure this is when our phones can be our best friends, because our bestie can be a call or a text away. Really, really important to have that buddy system. So, okay, if I missed anything in the chat, there was a lot of stuff going by pretty fast. So if you put something in there and I don't respond to it, I'm not being rude. It's going too fast for me to keep up with. So if you put something in there and I miss it, put it in there again. Just, hi, Steph. Remember, I asked you this, all right? So we've talked about the power pose, the mental dress rehearsal, and daily maintenance, practicing these each and every day. Now we get to the part that's could be a little challenging. Setting up practical strategies for difficult conversations. This is the one that really made me think, did I want to cancel this class today? And I was seeing on social media, and I'm hearing from so many people that this is something we need to talk about. I am so happy. I was estranged from my son for some years, and he's coming for Thanksgiving. Both of our kids are coming with their spouses for Thanksgiving. And both of our kids are LGBTQ. And so the estrangement between me and my son was not over his sexuality. It was about something else. But I do know that their friends are really hurting. And so while I am grateful that we get to have a not difficult Thanksgiving table, that a lot of other people are not, and that there are going to be some conversations that are going to be rather tricky to negotiate. So the first thing I want to say, and I have said this for years, and I really, no is a complete sentence. If you're invited to a family gathering and you know that all of the people except for you were voting against the people that you love, voting against the policies that you are for, you're an adult, right? You're an adult. You have the permission to say no. And that big long pause was because no is a complete sentence. And in Liz Gilbert's Letters from Love this morning, she said, you have permission to leave dysfunctional family systems, relationships, and cultures. It's okay to say, I'm not doing this anymore. So, it is so freaking hard. I get it, Michelle. I totally get it. Michelle's like, no, 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 no. Yes, I get it. And I'm going to encourage you. I don't know if you can see this. And I can't tell if it's backwards as you're seeing it or not, but It's a little permission slip on a pink sticky heart. I give myself full permission to fill in the blank. So you can write yourself permission slips and literally tuck it in your pocket to take it with you as a reminder. I give myself full permission to set those boundaries. How do we set clear boundaries? Well, this is tough. And it takes some practice and thinking about it in advance. So, examples would be, I'm not comfortable discussing politics. Can we talk about instead? I'd prefer to focus on catching up with family rather than debating current events. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe those will work. Maybe they won't. These are just some ideas that I'm throwing it out. Also, I am not sure about this one. I did not come up with this. Again, I do the research for this. So let's agree to disagree and enjoy our time together. I don't know. I don't know about that one. If you feel like that one's going to work for you, great. But I know for myself, it doesn't feel well. It doesn't feel right. And I know that for some of you, it won't. Again, I'm sprinkling seeds of different options. So I respect that we have different views, and I'm not open to discussing this further. That's standing in your power. I'll say this one again. I respect that we have different views. I respect that we have different views, but I'm not open to discussing this further. You don't give an opportunity to keep coming at you, keep coming at you, keep coming at you. You want to be like a broken record. So I had this situation years ago. Our mother was not very nice. She was actually pretty mean and abusive. And in her very long 9 months on hospice, she one time was just particularly awful to me. And I called my sister and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And she said, you're going to say to her, you're going to be the broken record. You're going to say, I love you. I know you love me. And I need to leave. Goodbye. And she said, just keep repeating that like a broken record over and over again. And I did. And I went literally running out of her house as she was, trying to still engage me. And it was hard. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I'm not saying, oh, these things are easy. They are not, but they feel so good. When you stand up for yourself, when you stick to your boundaries, it is a high, it is a feeling like nothing else. And so you may want to practice. If you do go ahead and set up a buddy system with somebody beforehand, practice with them, right? You could say, okay, Michelle, let's schedule a time for this week and let's practice on the phone or on Zoom or whatever. Let's practice doing this broken record. Let's practice. I respect that we have different views, but I'm not open to discussing this further. No. Right? Practice and practice and practice. And again, back to that broken record, you're going to say something, and sometimes that other person is going to be like a dog on a bone, and they are not going to want to let it go. And so you have the permission, right? You wrote yourself this permission slip. I give myself full permission to. And maybe that full permission is to leave if you need to. And we'll get to that in just a moment. I want to take a breath and let all of this settle for a moment, because this is some challenging work that we're doing. And yet I can tell you the growth opportunities are so big, and it is an opportunity for us to really find some more chosen family, find community where we can lift each other up, we can support each other. And yeah, Jessica, you're right. Remember, some people want to rile people up. So that goes back to something I shared last week, that creating panic and fear, it's a power tactic to make people easier to control. So, like Jessica says, remember, and she's got that on all caps, some people want to rile people up. Don't give them that power. Don't do what they want. Walk away. And I can hear, it's almost like I heard somebody say, well, that's easier said than done. I get it. This work is not for the faint of heart, but we have this opportunity to really exercise self love and self care. So let me just take a look back in the chat. It's also helpful to set the boundary before you get all upset. Exactly. Um, yeah, and if I have to take a tummy ache to keep escaping to the bathroom, that's okay too. Yes, it is. And yet we want to make sure. Oh, it feels like preparing for battle sometimes. Yeah, well, it kind of is. But I don't want you to think about that way because, again, if you think about that mental dress rehearsal, if we dress rehearse, okay, I'm going to put my armor on and we're pretty much sure where that's going to go. So instead, when we go into it as, all right, this could get a little challenging, and I know what I need to do for me. I know how to protect myself. I know how to set those boundaries. I know how to put my oxygen mask on. Then maybe things could go a little bit differently. So, in the moment coping techniques, oh my good Lord, you know I've shared hundreds with you all the time. So, we could do the hand to heart breathing that we did. And if you don't want to be putting your hand on your heart, you can just, at the Thanksgiving table, just breathing in, breathing out of your heart space, breathing in, breathing out of your heart space. Another one for in the moment. I've got all the breath techniques that I've shared with you, but also another great one for in the moment is what's right now. All right, so Aunt Mary's over there being Aunt Mary. What's right now? I'm sitting here and I'm staying in control of myself. Go me! What's right now? I really liked the cranberry sauce this year. Like, whatever it is, what's right now? Ooh, sweet potatoes with marshmallows on it, right? It's finding. Oh, hi, Cece. Great. First time here. So glad you were here. And thank you for the compliment, Jessica. I so appreciate you. So, we want to be discreet, right? We don't want to, the last thing you want to do is being at the dinner table and somebody's going at it and you're like, just get up in a huff and go off. Like, that's not going to accomplish anything. But if you can stay and find your breath and find your steadiness, right? It's about you staying in your power. And so we've got the emotional detachment strategies. That is, what's everything I'm noticing that's not that? So, you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and, here they go, here they go. And instead of dragging our awareness over there, expand your awareness to what's everything that's not that. What's everything that's not that one spouting off? Oh, look at the baby. And this is all internal. Look at the baby playing, smashing her food all over the tray. Oh, listen to the Christmas music in the background. Oh, I remember that ornament on the Christmas tree. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's really about looking at what else is out there. What's everything I'm not noticing that's not that? Yep, and also Michelle is talking about the 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you smell, 2 things you taste, and 1 thing you feel. If you can remember that, that's great. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. The one that I was going to share and have before is the 3, 3, 3 rule for anxiety. It's just 3 things you can see, 3 things you hear, and moving your body 3 ways, right? So that could be just turning your head to get a different perspective, putting your hand on your heart, doing a mudra with your hand. And you can even do this under the table. Nobody knows what you're doing, right? Awesome. Okay. So, now to the really charged one. Knowing when to step away. That's tough. That's really tough. Rachel Cargill says, no one is entitled to have me in their life. No one is entitled to have me in their life. And when they become disruptive, I leave. So again, that goes back into what we were talking about at the very beginning of setting the stage and prepping for this. So in addition to creating that buddy system to have somebody to reach out, phone a friend, text a friend, right? In addition to that, it is important to know when it's time to leave and having that exit strategy and preparing for that beforehand. Another story about this from my life and my mother was I had gone, we'd done, doing a celebration for her, and we were at a restaurant, and it was a horrendous situation. And unfortunately, I had driven with someone else. I didn't have my car. And this situation became so unbearable, and I couldn't leave. And I was in another state, so it's not like I could just call a taxi and go somewhere. So you want to make sure, think about it in advance. Okay, I want to have an exit strategy. Do I have Uber or Lyft or one of the apps on my phone? Do I have cash in my pocket if I have to, or my credit card, so I can pay for a taxi? You want to go ahead and have your exit strategy in place. And I know, like, it's really awful to even have to think about that, but sometimes we just have to remove ourselves, right? Trying to change someone else's mind, getting into heated conversations is not going to change the other person, and all it's going to do is hurt us. So remember, folks, the oxygen masks have come down. We do need, not want, to put our oxygen masks on. We need to put our oxygen masks and take care of ourselves. So again, we want to set the stage beginning today. Set the stage. Really practice and get plans in place. Do your self-care each and every day. Double down on your self-care. Plug into Insight Timer each and every day. If they, I don't know if they track, they must, because they can tell us, how many days. If they look at how much I've been using Insight Timer this last week, oh my gosh, I have really gotten use of my premium membership. I've been plugging in several times a day, whether it's to a meditation or a live class. There's almost 250,000 free meditations on the app here, and there's about 100 classes a day for free. So you definitely want to be taking care of getting the self-care in place. If you don't already have it, you're going to double down on it this week. Remember, we talked about the mental dress rehearsal, and that the best time to do that is right before you fall asleep and right when you first wake up. Again, when we're doing the mental dress rehearsal, we're not focusing on them. We're focusing on ourselves and staying in our power. Take a look at, if you really want to be imbibing, if you want to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, not usually the best mix for potentially volatile situations. Remember, we want to set and maintain clear boundaries, right? And some of those statements that I shared, if they work for you, great. If they don't, come up with what works best for you. It could be, I'm not comfortable discussing politics. Can we talk about X instead? It could be, hey, do you remember when we went on that camping trip? Or do you remember that trip to Disney World? Or whatever. It's finding what works for you and using that broken record technique. And remembering one of my favorites, no. That's a complete sentence. As women, and I think some men do this too, but I think it is more us women who say, no, I'm sorry, I can't because, and we try and explain ourselves. No, no is a complete sentence. And consider writing yourself permission notes. Do you remember having permission slips as a kid when you went to school? I give myself full permission to practice self care. I give myself full permission to what? Give yourself full permission to take care of you, no matter what. All right, let me catch up with the chat. And whew, boy, there is a lot in the chat. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Something about a blanket. Whoa, oh my gosh. There is so much in here. Oh my gosh. Wow. Michael, if you are my husband, I'm asking him, if you're recording this, please make sure you're recording it so we can get the chat. There's a lot of great information here, and there's no way I can go through all of this today. My gosh, there is so much here. Animals are a great distraction, I find, when conversations go awry. I know. Oh my gosh. Oh, honey. And also, a baby or a child, right? You're going to find what you want. Jessica, oh, I love this. Word of 2024 was no. Capital N, capital O, period. That's it. No is a complete sentence. All right. And Jessica's saying, hi, Michael. Hopefully he's seeing that in the chat and he's recording it too. All right. Let's wrap it up and put a little bow on top of all this. If you're comfortable, it's something about the baby blanket. I'm sorry, I missed whatever was in the chat earlier about the baby blanket, but I love that you all are having this conversation. And just the idea of a silky edge of a baby blanket is so soothing. And right, doesn't that just automatically, yeah, it kicks in the parasympathetic nervous system. So let's go ahead and tap into our parasympathetic nervous system a little bit deeper. Hopefully by now you have quieted the conscious mind a little bit. And so if you're comfortable, close your eyes or let them come to a soft gaze. Following your breath without feeling like you have to do any specific technique right now. Just following your breath, noticing. I love to notice when the air comes in the very tip of my nose. And then as it comes back out, notice it's warmer. So you may want to follow your breath in and out of your nose. Or perhaps noticing the rise and fall of your chest. Or if you're able to take a really nice deep breath, the rise and fall of your belly. And it's not required, but do remember that when we exhale twice as long as the inhale, we're stimulating our parasympathetic nervous system. And as we go into this state of rest, we go into those slower brain waves. Our brain becomes even more receptive to soak up all of this learning. And so simply imagining it as if all this learning is up here in your head now, and imagine that like beautiful little droplets of like gold, little water droplets. Imagine it's just droplets dropping from your mind into your heart, sealing all of this information that we talked about with me and all that you were sharing in the chat. I appreciate each of you so much for the support and the sharing in the chat. The support for me, the support for each other. We're really building a nice community here. And so take another few moments and go ahead and practice in your own mind right now that mental dress rehearsal. See, feel, or imagine you're at your holiday gathering and you're in your power. Maybe you imagine being in that bubble and anything that's not love bounces off. Imagine that you've got your healthy boundaries. Somebody starts, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable talking about that. Can we talk about something else instead? And then if they don't respect that boundary, you have full permission, because you're an adult, you have full permission to remove yourself. Remember the words from Rachel Cargill: no one is entitled to have me in their life. And when they become disruptive, I leave. So see, feel, or imagine from the time you get there, you're feeling good, you're feeling strong, you're feeling in your power instead of arriving already guarded with armor on. You go with an open heart. Practice your heart breathing, remembering that it's like a little secret weapon. I don't like the word weapon, but you know what I'm like, a little secret trick, a little ninja trick that you have where you're calming your regulatory system and you're sending out these calm waves to those in your surroundings. And notice how it feels when you're in your power, when you are exhibiting and maintaining those strong, healthy boundaries, when you are coming from your highest, best self, when you are practicing self-love. And bring all those good feelings with you now. Remember to practice this again tonight. You're going to sleep so beautifully tonight. And as you are drifting off to sleep tonight, practice your mental dress rehearsal. So I thank you. I thank you so, so much for joining me again tonight. And thank you for the hearts. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting each other. This is a beautiful, beautiful community, the greater Insight Timer community and the community of us who are gathering together week after week here on Sundays. So I thank you so much, and I hope that you will join me next week. Next week, well, let's see. Next week is about gratitude. November, Thanksgiving, gratitude. You know I am like big, big, big on gratitude. Let me tell you, we're also going to have a little party because it's my birthday next Sunday. It is my 65th birthday. Oh my gosh, I don't feel 65, but I was reading something earlier about somebody who said, oh, I'm turning 60 and I don't want to celebrate. I'm like, you know what? I'm on the right side of the grass and I am loving life. So I hope that you'll join me and we're just going to have fun and really steep ourselves in gratitude. And thank you so much. I saw, Dawn, thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Yes, Melanie's birthday, Melanie Underwood, the mindful chef, mindful cook, she was, Jessica, what a sweetheart. I thought you were only 45. Yeah. Thank you, with my silver. And you know what? I've earned my silver hair and my wrinkles, and I'm okay with that. So next week, it's all about gratitude. Please, if you're not following me yet, go to the little circle in the bottom corner with my picture where it says live. You can click follow me and then click through to my profile because you're going to find a lot of little goodies in my profile as well. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I think about you all week. I'm holding space for each of you all week. And I hope you have just the most beautiful week. Bye now.